Okay, just give it a minute. It's doing its thing. It takes a while, apparently, for it to be redirected. Okay.
Is it showing that it's live?
Yeah, it says that we're live. It
That's
says here,
fun.
meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. It just might take a little bit of time for it to show up on here.
Did you take me in it as well?
That's why I have to find it on my phone.
Okay.
So everyone's gonna get this lovely pre-conversation. So go ahead, Crystal. Hello.
Hello, Fola.
What's that?
Not much. As usual, we've been chatting for about an hour before we do this. It's our big intention. Survival versus trusting the process.
Yeah, we wanted to come on here and have that conversation with you guys.
Yeah, I did. And we both did. And what does trusting the process mean to you? And are you able to observe and witness if you are in survival mode, if you're in a low vibration of fear and anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like in your world? And what do you do to shift? Like,
Mm-hmm.
give some of your, like, when you witness, because we all come in and out of survival mode. It's the inevitable. Our animal brain, let's get technical a little bit, that goes back thousands upon thousands of years. So when we catch ourselves in survival mode or we catch ourselves in fear, what do you do, Fola, to shift? And then I'll share what I do. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I think with the things that have been happening in the world as of late, that a lot of us are in that space of like uncertainty and fear, right? Or these anxieties because we don't know. And I feel like a lot of that is just with those unknowns where we try to project what will be known, what's going to happen when in reality we don't really actually have any idea. So that kind of gives me hope when I hear and read a lot of things about all these kind of, whether you want to call them conspiracies or whatever. It's like, well, how would we assume that we would be able to know what the truth is? There's always half truths in everything, right? So I
Mhm.
try to just remind myself that no one really actually knows. And any time in my life where I have thought, hey, I know exactly what's going on, whether it's my intuition speaking or not, it's always been like parts of it. Maybe a big part of it might be true, but there's going to be other pieces to it that aren't necessarily truth, or they come out to mean something completely different. So I just try to remind myself about that, right? Like, okay, can't get stuck in a script of what is going to be, because again, that's us creating more anxiety and worry, um, and that's not really helping anyone. But for sure it's about accepting kind of where we're at. So like for that kind of step for myself is just acknowledging what I'm feeling, acknowledging the situation that I'm in, acknowledging a bit about what I can do or can't do in a situation, because that also kind of helps empower me to be like, okay, maybe these sorts of opportunities or actions or behaviors I used to take are no longer something I can do. These are the things that I can do, right? And right now, there's not a whole lot that we can do, it seems. Um, but it's like we can kind of just be present and acknowledge how we're feeling. And that's a huge step that, when we talk about like victim mentality and all that, we think someone's always causing us harm or causing something, a shift in our emotion. Like I think of my daughter, how many times she's like, you made me do that. You made me like da da da. And I'm like, nope, you're literally standing all the way over there, the other side of the
Yeah.
room. I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. It sounds,
Mhm.
it's like, it sounds like you're upset. I can't make you upset, but clearly you didn't like when I laid that ground rule for you, right? Like, so kind of talking about that. And then there's obviously the tools that I think you and I are on the same page about is using some of these ways to alleviate some of that stress, because as I'm sure most people have seen online, there's a lot of conversations about how the current situation is kind of releasing a lot of trauma and these memories of traumas, and it is a traumatic event where our body, our brain, the chemicals, everything's going into that fight or flight mode, right? Or freeze, depending, I guess, on your
Or
preferred
freeze, talk.
choice.
Yeah.
And it's like, what can we do to alleviate that physiological sort of reaction? And that's why, yeah, meditation, breath work, all these things, yoga, exercise, all these different things can help with that, right? And so that's why I'm trying to tap into all these things. But for sure, for me right now with the given situation, just because I have my child too, I want to make sure that we're engaging in a way that's like healthy and she's not bored out of her mind because she ain't wanting to meditate, right?
Of course.
Art has been really great, like painting and just trying to tap into that, and also music. And I've
Well,
always,
that's also Fola, intervene. That's a means of meditation when you're
oh,
doing with your child. Anything that you're teaching her to be mindful in the moment, doing some sort of like art project, going, even just like coloring in the lines and stuff like that.
out of them.
Yeah, that, what did you say?
I said, or out of them.
Or around them, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's teaching her to be in the moment. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
super healthy for sure,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
definitely mindfulness. So
and
yeah,
and
I'd say that.
you're gardening right now, you were saying,
Oh
with
yeah.
her, and so that's a good experience for her to experience right now.
Mm-hmm.
Watching something grow, something, like from the seed. And yeah, for children especially, like what kind of experience are they going to come out of this, right? So are they,
Yeah.
I think you and I were talking, I was watching this one psychologist and she talked about post-traumatic stress when we come out of this, or post-traumatic spiritual awakening. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, like post-traumatic growth. Yeah, 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 for
Traumatic
sure.
growth. Yeah.
Which it's, I'm not sure the stats, like, but it is much, we think PTSD and we think trauma and we're automatically like, oh my God, we're fucked. It's like, actually high amounts of people experience trauma and they have that growth or that expansion or awakening in their life, and it's for like the empowerment of themselves, right? It's not like
Yeah.
this stuff has to mean we're all screwed, and just because you have a fight or flight or freeze, whatever reaction, doesn't mean you're like messed up. It's more, what are you going to then take after the fact that you come to whatever realizations you need to come from it, and step out of that victimhood, right? Which it's going to also be a huge thing, right? Where I think for a lot of us right now is like, we're going to continue to be kind of at the will of the government or whatever, being the ones to provide and do all these things. Are we going to take our own power back and then choose the things that we want to choose for ourselves, right? And that's where that
Mhm.
growth can come from it, right? But that looks different for everyone too. So, you know.
Well, it
But
is
what about
personal.
you?
It is
Mm-hmm.
very personal for sure, definitely. Um, what am I doing to shift? Well, I'm teaching yoga online these days, and you and I are doing meditations on Saturday now. So that, just giving back to humanity and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
And I'm doing some gardening, which puts me more with earth and connecting.
Yeah, that's definitely important. The
My God.
groundedness.
Sorry about that. Yeah, gardening, connecting with Mother Earth, and I'm also planted some seeds in the last, few days and stuff like that. And yeah, it just I find it very grounding. And then
Mm-hmm.
turning music on, or creating like a new recipe in the kitchen or something like that.
Oh yeah,
You
that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. And, yeah, of course, like I think it's only natural to come in and out of these emotions, and it's going to be very different for each and every one of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I put myself in observation mode, I realize that that's not who I am. It's just an emotion. And where's this emotion coming from? What
Mm-hmm.
age is this emotion? Where did this emotion like, when did it manifest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really taking an opportunity to like do journaling and do some writings and some poetry and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm trying to utilize my time and connect with on a spiritual level, connect with my higher intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a huge part of it's like, yeah, we just need to kind of, we're being forced to relax, right?
We're
And
to go into self-reflection.
yeah, and just to be in the moment and enjoy, I think too, right? Like, oh, and hopefully you're still there. Yeah.
I am.
Before we came on here live, we were kind of discussing a bit about, oh, I don't know how it came, but I was like, oh, I feel like I'm like losing weight. Like my pants are loose. And you were saying you've noticed the same thing. And
A
I
shift
truly
in my
believe,
body, I've noticed. Like,
yeah,
I've noticed a shift, and it's not like I eat pretty clean, and I'm juicing beet juice these days and stuff like that. But I've noticed just everything kind of fall nicer, I guess, in a roundabout way, from
yeah.
not working for the last month. And
Well, yeah.
it seems to me that my body's more in a state of ease,
Hmm.
and a state of, she's happy. She's
Hmm.
extremely happy.
Yeah, totally right. And that's where that whole, like you meant, the cortisol levels, right? When we're not stressed, even though obviously there's things that are happening that we could lead, allow ourselves to lead into more stress. And some days they do, and sometimes some days they won't, but it's like when our bodies are no longer in that stressful state, or maybe too energetically, when we are constantly interacting with other people who are also equally stressed. So you have your entire like colleagues, everyone, your boss, whoever it is, everyone's in your energetic space, or you're having interactions with, you're also carrying their shit. And now it's
Hmm.
like we've actually completely severed all those ties pretty
Hmm.
much, right? Not every,
Hmm.
but I know for yourself, myself, like that's kind of what's happening. It's like we're actually getting to choose who do we want to spend time with and who do we want to talk to, right? And so
Hmm.
we have way less of that stress. And I think even if people are working um, and having to have, like calls with their employers or whoever, they're probably noticing some of these changes too, like the fact that they don't have to drive to work in rush hour traffic or whatever. It's like there's going to be a decrease in some of that stress, I'd hope.
Hmm.
If not, then I don't really know what else to say there, but I would imagine at the end of this, a lot of people are going to start realizing, oh, what has this been doing for my life? And have we always been in that survival, fight or flight sort of mode? And
Yeah,
I think that's
we
what they
have.
say is like we're constantly in that stress situation, right? I know even I don't even work as a first responder, but the times that I worked next to police or EMS, just sometimes that the radio beeping, things like that, it's like I cannot imagine the level of stress just from these simple little things that are kind of going on when you're
That are
in it all
triggering
the
you.
time,
Yeah.
right? And you're
Yeah.
constantly on that alert, like, well, what if,
And
what if?
then you feel that emotion in your body. You
Hmm.
feel, yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
So that's why it's important, I think, to have these types of different tools, whatever it might be. But we definitely wanted to share, like, come on here today and share with people about the meditation aspect, and just how important the meditation or mindfulness practice of, like, whether you're just completely silencing and quieting your mind or attempting to, that it's going to help you become more mindful of the present moment, which leads to more mindfulness of where you're at and your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts. And
Hmm.
that then in turn leads to more of a relaxed state and more of
It
that trust
also,
and surrender.
yeah, trust and surrender. It also, as you come into your meditation practice, if for any beginners, you show up more, you'll start programming yourself to be more the observer of what's happening internally,
Hmm.
and where there is any stagnant energy. And you'll even, as time progresses, I would imagine, yeah, as time progresses, you'll feel that electrical current run through you. You'll actually
Hmm.
feel your energy,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to take your energy and disperse of it where it needs to, where you need to move it.
Hmm.
And you'll know where that stagnant energy is. So yeah, you're by meditating, you're showing up more as the witness and the observer. You're training your mind to do that, so that when you do go out in your external world, um, that you can show up more as the observer. You're not taking everything so personally.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's gonna be that empowerment piece for sure.
it is a huge empowerment
Yeah.
piece. Um, yeah, just the benefits of meditation. When you do just incorporate a minimum of once or twice a day. How many times do you meditate? Twice a day minimum, Fola?
Minimum?
Yeah,
Did I meditate today? No, I haven't meditated today.
just a fast, busy day.
It really depends on like the day because my child comes back and forth. So I find usually when she's here, like my morning meditation, because I prefer to meditate in the morning. It doesn't usually
Mhm.
happen, or it'll just be converted into a laying in bed awake for like 2 hours because I tend to wake up early. But if I get out of bed, we sleep in the same bed. I admit it. But yeah, otherwise, it just depends. But I know, like, what is it, transcendental meditation, and that's their thing, is like 2 times 20 minutes in morning and evening. And
Well,
I
they
would
do
say,
mantras, stuff like that, right? So
oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm familiar with their technique, but I would definitely say that meditating at least once, right? And someone I know had posted this recently about like the time spending that time in reflection during quarantine. And I really liked it. It was like, okay, well, because some people are in homes right now where they've got like 4 kids or like all these different people in the home, whatever your situation is. And that's kind of how I'm finding it now, is like I'm finding it quite difficult unless I don't have my child here to like spend the normal amount of time I would in like a reflective sort of place, because
Hmm.
she's just constantly wanting my attention. Like, and actually, I think it was yesterday, I said, okay, I'm going up. I need like 20 minutes. I didn't really meditate it. I was doing like some automatic writing stuff. And like, I was like, 20 minutes is all I need. Just please do not come into the room. And I was like, I don't even know if she's going to be able to do this. And she did, but she did end up coming in the room and came right up to me. Right. But this person I know posted, it was like, okay, just try and designate a space for you to go listen to like music or have headphones or earplugs, so that because some people don't have anywhere to separate and they just need to
Yeah.
go within, and even if it's just for like 5 minutes, because
Yeah,
I'm
5 minutes
one
will give
very,
you, will bring you into a state of ease.
yeah, that's
Well,
all
so
you
that
need.
you're not, yeah, in reaction mode, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I personally prefer longer periods just because I think my times experiencing longer meditations, I know it's possible for me to do that. Like, and I like to kind of see how long, right? But right now, it's like some days it's like it is. If it's an hour, great. If it's 5 minutes, great. It's all the same. And I know it's just, I trust going in when I need to go in and be
Yeah.
silent. And whatever that looks like too, is like that literally might just be me, my child being over on one couch and me laying on the other couch just in like silence. And to me, like
Mhm.
that's even just as powerful. So I think it
Yeah.
depends on each person and their situation, what they can manage. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you can share like what you're doing, how you're finding that helpful versus like doing something different.
Um, well, I meditate twice a day typically. And yeah, just morning is basically honing in on my breath. And then my evening meditation, once again, honing in on my breath. But my meditation in the evening is a little bit different. My morning meditation, I usually set my intention when I'm working. I'll set my
Mhm,
intention for the day. And I still set my intention for the day. It's just different,
mhm,
now that
mhm,
I'm not working right now. It's more in things I want to do, hobbies, writing, journaling, whatever the case is, right?
mhm, mhm,
Teaching online, creating, more in the creation, I
mhm,
would say, on my own free time. And then at night, it's gratitude. I've always done this. At night, it's just giving, connecting with my breath, connecting and internally, and then what I'm grateful for, whether, right down to the simplicities of life. And
mhm.
I even I've had days where I actually say, thank you, universe. Thank you for my challenges today. Because I know somewhere along the lines it's going to turn into my blessings.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, I know I'm going to learn from this, or there's something to learn from this. So, um, but yeah, I can sit in meditation sometimes because I get enthralled with my electrical current. I can actually feel my energy moving through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it's like an inner massage almost. I really love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I first felt it like probably about 8 years back ago. And yeah, so I can meditate for an hour, 45 minutes and lose track of time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But I come out
Mm-hmm.
a bit like revived, and I feel full of stamina, and I feel more alert, and I feel more alive,
Mm-hmm.
and like even focused.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely important, especially at a time like
Focused
this, right? Because it does allow for that period of just like being. And
or
it's almost
trusting.
like, hmm?
Trusting. Like when I witness that I'm in a
Mm,
fear, right? Which everybody will to the day they die, unless you're a monk, you know what I mean? Sitting on, in some temple meditating 24/7 or something. But yeah, you're able to observe and witness more, I find. But you can actually shift. Do you know what I mean? You can shift out of that fear once you come into a meditation
mm-hmm.
state.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just know that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. You trust the process.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know that you're provided for. It's For me, meditation is also connecting to a higher intelligence, and connecting
Mm,
and that love that is from beyond. And once you feel that inner peace and that inner love, and that inner tranquility, you'll become addicting.
yeah, for
It'll
sure.
become addicting. And that there could be worse addictions as far as I'm concerned. You
But
know what
isn't
I
the
mean?
whole point is to be equanimous? See, this is where but I hear you because I get that completely, especially when you talk about um, the sensations or things like that, right? But I think it's like we also want to make sure that we're not attaching to those things in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, then what happens is when it doesn't happen, because I'm sure we've all had experiences meditating where it's like, oh my God, that was like so cool. And it's like, oh, I can't wait till the next time to go back. And then it's like you're in pain in your body because it's like, oh, I shouldn't have like attached myself to that like totally blissed out kind of enlightened experience, which it probably wasn't at all. Do you know what I mean? But
That euphoria. Yeah.
yeah, but it's about, I guess, just being aware and seeing kind of where we are attaching or longing for. Because even in, I think, the state that we're in now in this world, it's like we are, we're still attached to the old way of being, our old stories and old
Yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
and having to let go. Like that's hard. But like you said, when we become more aware and just observe it, then it does become easier, I think, to kind of, yeah.
I think, yeah, meditation for sure, definitely. I think that at the end of the day, I think everybody should have some sort of a faith, yeah, attached to it. And that's where you find that inner peace, whatever faith looks like to you,
Yeah,
whatever love looks like for you, you know?
totally.
What do you think?
Totally. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all very individual. So,
I, I'm doing, to get intimate a little bit, my brother, I wanted to do these Saturdays, and just to let other people know, I wanted to do these Saturdays, and I wanted to be in service to, especially in this mental health crisis that we're
mhm,
in, to women, of course, but men, because my brother committed suicide 9 years ago, because he wasn't connected to his emotions, because he allowed his external world to define him, or that he wasn't good enough, or he was inadequate. So that's really why I wanted to do these Saturdays with you, Fola, and that's how, and even down the road, I'm not sure where this is going to go, but, but I have a great passion to, you're still there.
yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
I have a great passion for men to really connect on an emotion, to have an understanding that you're given all these emotions for a reason. You're given all these emotions for a reason. And these emotions are your inner navigation. And there's nothing to shame when you cry. And there's nothing to shame if, like, I don't know, you lose your job, or like, we're in this economic downturn right now. And how many men right now, Fola, are feeling inadequate, feeling shame, in fear, wondering, allowing, instead of like really appreciating their health. And right now, in this moment, what's the most important thing is your health, mind, body, soul connected. And I was doing a writing on that. It's like the threes, the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, like, there's something to be said in threes. And but yeah, I really want more men to, whatever faith looks like, because I don't care if you're praying to an alien, for all I care. And I've said that to, when I've taught, or I don't care if you're praying to Fred Flintstone or Wilma, but pray to something. Know that there's something beyond yourself. And once you connect in that state, that meditation, that meditative state, you'll feel it. You'll feel that inner peace. It'll come to you. And then you'll want more of it. And, you got Anthony Robbins, and you got Steve Jobs, and you got all these like successful people that are meditating. Or you go back even 100 years, you got Napoleon Hill, you got James Allen, brilliant writer. He's a poet on top of it. And he keeps talking about faith, James Allen. And he talks about faith, and he talks about mind, body, soul connection, and he talks about meditation. And in that state of meditation is when you're able to tap into your emotions, like your emotional intelligence, your higher intelligence, and yeah, so I'm quite passionate in the sense that I would love to see, there's nothing worse than seeing a man struggle,
Well, definitely. I think the time now that we are in, it's just really waking people up to all this value and power that they hold as individuals, right? And that it's not about
what's important.
Yeah, it's not about these external like successes or wins or gains, right? It's all about the within, and that's what meditation can help support you with, is to tap into that inner like column of strength, wherever it comes from, whatever it's a part of, right? And you start to see that there's so much more to than just the things kind of existing here. And that's going to be empowering. And then that'll help tap into that creativity, right? And whatever that looks like for each individual, it's subjective, but
something wonderful is going to come from this. Like, yeah.
And I think it already has, including like, with your stuff, you can see how you've been taking the time now to do these things, right? And to share this info. So yeah, I love this Saturday meditation. So I think we should probably just let people know who are watching. So I've had a few people here saying hello, and I've responded via the lovely phone texting.
Oh, perfect. Who's connecting with us, Fola?
Oh, Scotty says hello. We had Kiana. At least this is all the one. I don't know. I've shared it a few places, so I'm not sure if it's like gonna all pop up on my one screen, but well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I want people to know that not everybody can afford to go see a psychologist. I had the pleasure of seeing a psychologist. I guess with my challenges, my brother committing suicide, and and experiencing other traumas in my life, and all that kind of stuff, brought me to a psychologist, brought me to literally having a nervous breakdown to my knees. And I like 7 years ago, or even 8 years ago, I had this perception coming from a European family, like, shh, everything's supposed to be perfect. Don't talk about it. Like, can you just smile? Like, can you just be happy? Well, it's a little hard, when you've gone through, or you're having a hard time digesting life. You know what I mean? And not everybody can afford a psychologist. And what I found out 7 years ago is I was like, whoa, you got psychologists doing meditation in a session with me, teaching me how to be mindful, You know what I mean? Even though I've been teaching yoga for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a huge aha moment. And then just learning to be more mindful and more in the moment and more connected in my body. And really like even learning like, at $200 a session, not everybody can afford it, and I was lucky enough to kind of work the system, and then I had benefits and stuff like that as well. So I am super grateful to the universe giving me this knowledge. And then
Mm-hmm.
I expanded my knowledge from what I learned from them, and I would read books and I would watch documentaries and I'd listen to psychologists, and I had to be my own advocate, my own biggest fan, and then understanding my own emotional intelligence, understanding that my body's communicating with me, that it has a communication of its own. I didn't know this. Nobody taught me this, you know? Yeah. But
Yeah, and
it's
meditation can definitely help with some of that. So if you are
for sure.
interested, listeners, watchers of the video, to connect and experience some meditation in kind of like a group format, we're holding Zoom gatherings on Saturdays. So tomorrow, the 11th of April, we'll be having our, I think it's the third one, right? At
Yeah. Arthur.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Am I telling the right information, Crystal? And it's going to be
Yeah.
on Zoom. So you can message either Crystal or myself. You should be able to find our profiles somewhere here. Leave a comment in the videos and we'll see those when we get to them. And we can send you the Zoom link and the password so you can get into those calls.
To the
And
meeting.
typically, too, we've been having kind of like a conversation on a specific topic, just so that, it's not just like an hour of meditation, because we just really want to do some support too and hear how people are doing and how we can like support you if anything, because yeah, you're not alone, right? And even though
No.
meditation is going to help you connect with that like higher power within yourself, we are
Vulnerability.
a community and we're here to like be with each other, help each other, empower each other. So it's
Embrace vulnerability, Fola, as
yeah.
well, just like
Mhm.
a platform of vulnerability. And it's okay to, share your emotions. And if you're feeling super anxiety in that moment, this would be a safe platform to do so,
Mhm.
to open up and all that kind of stuff. Right. And there's something that's really like I've noticed even for myself when I started opening up my emotions and letting go of like the perfection, or I had a lot of shame around, that I'm supposed to be perfect and I can't share my emotions, or even talking
Mhm.
about having a nervous breakdown, for instance, or I have post traumatic stress. You know what I mean? I thought there was something wrong with me, but there's nothing wrong with me because I learned from that. But yeah, we want to have people be vulnerable and share their emotions, because at the end of the day, Fola's sharing her emotions with me. I'm sharing my emotions with her. I have my own mentors and network that if I'm having a low vibration, I pick up the phone and I call them. Like I have my different ways I shift,
Mhm.
whether it's like turn some music on and dance around the house, you know what I mean? And there's certain music that will raise my vibration. But if I can't shift after doing 2 or 3 different things, including meditation, then I pick up the phone and I talk to somebody. And what I've noticed, as soon as I talk to somebody and talk about my emotions, say, I'm not sure what's going on here, I notice something transcend through me.
Mhm.
Something magical happens because I'm letting it go. I'm talking about it. I'm giving it to the universe, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I
What do
know
you,
that's why I think it's important for people to connect to someone, even if there's no finances to connect with like a psychologist. Like there are services available, at least here in Edmonton where we live, that are all covered, that you can easily access. So if people need to do that, they can reach out. We can forward them that information too, because you don't have
Mhm,
to go through it alone, right? But you need to have that trust with someone in order to be that in that vulnerable place.
mhm.
So yeah. Yeah. So we hope to see you guys there. That'd be cool,
Yeah, we
right?
hope to see you there for sure, definitely. And get super vulnerable and meet some new friends. Yeah.
New peeps. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
even
new
last time
friends.
we have people from like across the country and international. It's actually kind of
Was
cool.
she
I was
she
like,
was from New Brunswick or something, wasn't she? That one gal?
someone's yeah, it's kind of cool. We have people all over, so it'll
Yeah.
be neat to share that space again. But I don't know if you have anything else to add. Otherwise, we'll maybe end it here. Sweet.
Perfect. Thanks, Fola.
Thanks, you guys. And yeah, thanks, Crystal. Let me see if I can figure out how we actually close this. So yeah, you guys take care.